the European Parliament ramping up some pressure on Russia's President Putin's war in Ukraine. Today, the EU officially declared Russia a terrorist state after Moscow's missile attacks continue on innocent Ukrainian lives. Our foreign correspondent Chuck Holton again live for us with more on this and what's happening on the ground in Kyiv. Chuck, good to see you.
Good to see you. That's right. Just moments after that declaration by the European Parliament that is calling Russia a terrorist state, Russia decided to underscore their point for them by launching 30 missiles at Kyiv today. About 10 of those missiles actually got through. So that shows kind of the effectiveness of the anti-missile technology that they've got surrounding this city. But those 10 missiles that landed did take out the water plant, at least for a time. They've shut off the water to the city now. You can tell it's pretty dark back behind me here. We have seen some rolling blackouts again, but we still have power. We still have internet, and they're saying that the water should be repaired shortly. Unfortunately, some people did die from that. And now down in the south, I met with one of the president's advisors today, and we were talking about this push out of Kherson. So they recently liberated city down there in the south, and in just across the water to the south into the Black Sea, there's a piece of land called the Kilburn Spit. Now, that was kind of a national park until the Russians took it at the beginning of the war. The Ukrainians have since pushed across the water to the Kilburn Spit and have taken that land now. And that's a very big tactical maneuver on their part, because the Russians have built lots of fortifications on the left bank of the Dnieper River, thinking that the Ukrainians would try to cross directly across from Kherson. Instead, they went south onto the Kilburn Spit, and that will enable them to flank the enemy down there from the south, and is sort of render useless all of those fighting positions that they made. Now, what we are seeing also is more missile attacks across the country, especially out in the east. There have been tremendous number of not only missile attacks, but human wave attacks from the Russians, sending just thousands of those untrained, poorly equipped conscripts at the battle lines drawn up around the city of Bakhmut. That's a small town that's not that important, really, from a tactical perspective, but it's a pride thing on this part of the Russians. They really need to take something, and that's the most, they have the most possibilities right there, and so they're throwing a lot of guys at that, and so far unsuccessfully. Back to you.
All right, Chuck Holton in Kyiv, the water is off, barrage of missiles. Please stay safe, Chuck. Excellent reporting, and certainly appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Let's bring in now Brigadier General Blaine Holt to discuss where we're at and where we could be going. As always, great to see you.
Great to see you too. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy
Thanksgiving. And man, do we feel blessed when we see what is going on in the world and we hear about no water, there's missiles, these infrastructure energy attacks. How bad, I mean, we see the ground fighting obviously is one thing, but these missile strikes, really to focus our attention there, General Holt, this seems like this is going to be the coldest, darkest winter for Ukrainians that they have known in history.
This is the worst crisis we've seen in Europe since World War II. There's no question about this. And the human plight on the ground now is going to be one of much more desperation. This winter is going to be brutal. And they've already lost half their power infrastructure. And they're probably going to lose a lot more. And I wish that weren't so. But you know, these claims of the Russians running out of missiles, it certainly doesn't appear to be the case. And they are targeting right at that energy infrastructure. It's the follow-on effects that can make this crisis from really, really bad to dire.
Missiles in store. We do know that they're working with Iran. There's some defense cooperation there. What do we need to know as far as that partnership? Is this the lifeline that Putin needs to keep going on where he's going here, which seems like an all-out assault on all these infrastructure and energy sites?
Yes, that's true. And there's great risk to Russia geopolitically in lining themselves up with Iran. You know, Russia was doing really well in the diplomatic game with Israel and with Saudi Arabia, but Iran coming into their sphere and then supplying them with weapons, it may change the calculation there. However, on the other side, it's the Europeans who need to be very, very concerned, because The sanctions regime already has the average European citizen up in arms about what quality of life looks like there now, and then how sustainable is the support lifeline going into Ukraine.
Right. So, and the other piece of this that maybe doesn't get as much attention that we should be talking about is uranium for nuclear power here, where Russia and Kazakhstan really do supply Europe with a lot. Have there been, threats on this? And what do you think Putin could be using for leverage that maybe no one even has on the radar here?
Right. So Putin is actually going to a very historical form of Russian warfare. We can go back to Napoleon and to Hitler failing in a very cold Moscow environment. And now Putin has been actively saying, I'm going to bring winter to Europe. And what he means by that is it's not just the cutting off of oil, gas, coal, and Europe's price controls are going to help that, honestly. It's these nuclear power plants get their fuel from Kazakhstan and Russia. And if Russia chooses to, they can actually up the ante in the energy game. And that's why if you combine that with a refugee crisis that really takes off, like 10 more million people in the next 2 months, the West would do very well to come together and do a strategic review of what the plan is, and maybe start to make adjustments based on what we see now, not what we saw last year.
Yeah, and you say last year, and it's like amazing. We are going into another year here. Just about a minute left, General Holt, and I kind of want to let you surmise where we're at and where is. I mean, we talked a lot early days about an off ramp for Putin. It seems like we hope there's still some chance for that. As people, we don't want to see millions of people freeze and die. In addition to all the military strikes they're causing, what is possible solutions that you could be hearing about diplomacy here?
Right. So diplomacy has to be the way ahead. That's the only way we're going to get through this. If we're all going to hang on and wait for Putin to be replaced, maybe he is replaced, but it won't be by something that we would embrace and say, oh, gosh, now we're saved. So really getting back to the table and showing the people of Europe that, look, we're helping and supporting Ukraine, but we're also urging peace. And we're going to urge whatever settlement we can get, because what's happening right now before our eyes is absolutely on a very, very bad, dangerous trend line.
Brigadier General Blaine Holt, I wish we had more time. We got to leave it there, though. Thank you so much for your expertise, and great to have you in today.
Great to be here. Thank you.